welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really practical. We've got a whole set of sources here, all about the core knowledge you need for SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition.
Right, but instead of just reading manuals, we found a bit of a shortcut.
Exactly. We're using the structure of a certification exam analysis, the CS4 CPB 2508. Not to study for the test itself, obviously.
No, more like using its structure as a roadmap. It forces SAP to define what's absolutely critical.
Right. We're aiming to sort of surgically extract the key pieces. SAP tells its top consultants these are the must-knows. So we figure that's the foundation for everyone working with the system.
Yeah. We're pulling out those core building blocks, like the 2 correct answers for each major concept, to give you that essential practical knowledge fast.
Think of it like walking through the system's lifecycle. Set up, build, maintain, migrate.
We're aiming to turn all that complexity into maybe 4 clear pillars for you.
Okay, let's jump straight in. Pillar 1, secure technical setup. Moving to the public cloud, you still need to connect external systems, right? Maybe old legacy stuff or specific tools.
Absolutely. And you need to do it securely, traceably.
So what are the 2 absolute must-have building blocks you set up in the Fiori communication management apps for that secure connection?
Okay. So it really starts right at that boundary.
Yeah.
The system needs to know who is trying to connect and what they're allowed to actually do.
And these are 2 distinct things.
Totally separate.
Yeah.
But you need both for any data to flow.
Okay, what are they? Because I know the names sometimes trip people up. They sound similar.
Yeah, they do. Well, the first one is the communication system. Think of the external system needing a passport to cross the border into S4 on a cloud.
Okay.
The communication system is that passport. It's the internal record representing that external system. It holds the technical details, the host name, the URL, and crucially, the authentication method. You know, like a technical user ID, password, maybe a certificate.
So it establishes the who and where securely.
Exactly. It builds that technical trust.
Right. So if that's the passport, what's the second piece? How does it define the activity?
That's the communication arrangement. If the system is the passport, the arrangement is like the specific visa and flight plan. It defines the why, the actual integration scenario.
Gotcha.
So the arrangement links everything together. It points to the communication system you just set up. It specifies the technical user needed for this specific exchange. And it lists the exact APIs or services that are allowed to be used. Basically, what data can actually move back and forth for this purpose.
Okay, so you absolutely need both. The trusted identity, the system, and the specific approved task, the arrangement. Without both, nothing happens.
Precisely. The door stays locked otherwise. You need the technical handshake and a defined business reason.
Right. That lays the groundwork. So we know how to connect things. Now let's talk about the build phase. This is where the tech plan meets, well, business reality.
Yeah, pillar 2, the implementation. And specifically, those fit-to-standard workshops. This phase can be, let's say, lively, because S4HANA Cloud really pushes standardization.
Discourages customization.
Totally.
So this is where it gets really interesting, isn't it? The consultant sits down with the customer. Their job is to make the project work. But what's their main job in these workshops? Our sources point to this kind of dual responsibility that feels a bit contradictory sometimes.
It really does. They have to walk a fine line between standard and, well, necessary exceptions. So first, their core duty is clear. They have to guide the customer through the standard business processes.
Show them how it should work out of the box.
Exactly. Demonstrate the SAP best practices. Show what the system can do as is. This helps confirm what fits and what doesn't. They're essentially selling the benefits of sticking to the standard.
Okay, makes sense. Show the standard house, see how the furniture fits. But if they're pushing the standard so hard, isn't there a risk they might, gloss over things that don't fit? What's the other side of that coin? The second duty.
And that's the critical balance. That's where good governance comes in. Their second, absolutely crucial duty is to meticulously document all the scope gaps.
Everything that doesn't fit.
Everything. Any genuine business requirement that the standard process just can't handle. This documentation isn't just notes. It's the formal justification for any extensions or custom work later on.
So they have to be both the advocate for the standard and the honest broker documenting where it falls short.
Precisely. They have to be truthful and thorough about those gaps, because that list dictates future complexity, cost, everything.
Wow. So that documentation is basically the project's risk register for customization. because deciding to build something custom there, that ripples through everything later, right? Maintenance, upgrades, data migration.
Oh, absolutely. Those early decisions during the build definitely come home to roost later, which brings us nicely to our third pillar, maintenance.
Right, life after go live. In the cloud, those system upgrades are regular, they're mandatory, you can't just skip them like in the old days.
Nope. Constant change is part of the deal. So the question isn't if you'll be affected by an upgrade, but how.
So how do customers manage that impact without drowning in testing?
Well, that's where a really important tool comes in. It's called the Release Assessment and Scope Dependency Tool, or RASD for short.
RSE.
Without it, yeah, you'd face a massive, probably unmanageable testing burden every few months.
So the RAZ tool acts like a filter. What are the key benefits, the specific things it gives you after an upgrade hits your system?
It gives you targeted intelligence. So the first big benefit is it helps you identify changes in the new release that specifically impact your active scope items.
So only the processes you're actually using.
Exactly. Remember those standard processes you activated during Fit to Standard. The RASD tool scans the huge list of changes in the new release and flags only the ones that touch the processes you have turned on.
Okay, that's a massive time saver. You're not wading through release notes for modules you don't even use.
Precisely. You focus your testing effort where it's actually needed.
Makes sense. What's the second key benefit?
The second one is more forward-looking. It helps your teams determine the impact of new features on your current setup.
So stuff you could start using.
Right. It alerts you to new functionality that might be relevant. Maybe there's a new standard way to do something that replaces an old workaround you built. It helps you plan testing for potential adoption, or maybe even retire some older custom bits.
Interesting. So it moves you from just reacting to changes to proactively assessing, okay, what's new and does it help us?
Exactly. It makes the whole upgrade assessment process much more surgical and relevant to your specific system usage.
Okay, got it. Technical connections, the implementation dance, managing upgrades. That brings us to the final pillar, which often feels like the biggest hurdle. Data migration.
Ah, yes. Feeding the beast. Designing the system is one thing, getting the data in correctly is another.
So what's the standard approach here? How do you move master data, transactional data, into S4 and a cloud public edition?
Well, it's kind of a two-part answer. There's the standard tool and the standard method. First, the official recommended SAP tool is the SAP S/4HANA Migration Cockpit. That's the central platform. You really should be using this. Trying to bypass it is generally not a good idea.
Right, the cockpit is the main engine. But how does the data actually get to the cockpit? Do you need complex interfaces or is it simpler?
Thankfully, it's designed to be pretty accessible. And that's the second key point. The main method is using flat files or staging tables.
Like spreadsheets, CSV files.
Exactly. Or dedicated staging tables in a database. The point is you extract data from your legacy system, clean it up, structure it into these files or tables outside of S/4HANA, and then you load those into the migration cockpit.
Oh, okay. So you don't necessarily need a live connection to the old system during the load.
Correct. And crucially, this approach means you can migrate data from almost any source system, whether it's an old SAP system or something completely different. That flexibility is vital.
Makes sense for real-world messy landscapes. But okay, going back to those scope gaps, if we had to add custom fields during the build phase to meet a business need, can the migration cockpit handle that? Or are we stuck?
Oh, it absolutely has to. Otherwise, the whole extensibility concept falls apart, right?
True.
So yes, that's one of its core capabilities. It supports the migration of custom fields that you've created via the standard extensibility tools. If you added extra fields, the cockpit lets you map your legacy data into those fields too.
Okay, good. That takes some anxiety away. What's the other key capability we need to know about?
Well, maybe the most important one for ensuring clean data from day one is its source-to-target mapping functionality. Meaning your old legacy system might have weird codes or inconsistent values, right? Old department names, product codes that don't match the new structure.
Always.
So the cockpit lets you define rules to translate those old messy source values into the clean, correct, standardized target values required by S/4HANA Cloud. It's fundamental for data cleansing during the migration.
Got it. So it helps enforce consistency right as the data comes in.
Exactly. Drives that data quality up immediately.
Wow.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Think about this. When that consultant, back in the Fit to Standard workshop, decides to document a scope gap, How immediately does that single decision lock in the exact technical complexity needed later? The custom field support, the specific mapping rules in the migration cockpit.
Hmm. It's not just a business decision then, it's an immediate technical specification.
Pretty much. The system is really designed to reward sticking to the standard, and every single deviation, every documented gap carries an immediate calculable technical cost downstream. Something to definitely keep in mind.